Hello and welcome. My name is Roshan Shah and I'm the Chief Technology Officer of Teenivo Incorporated. So what is Teenivo Incorporated? Teenivo Incorporated is basically a platform which revolutionizes, connects, and empowers teen and pre-teen entrepreneurs for global impact. So let's see what problems we are trying to solve. Currently, the legal age limitations for any young kid to start a business, to get into a binding contract, is 18 or 19 years, depending on the country which you are in. So let's say if you are below the age of 18 and you are an artist, or you are a YouTube creator or an Instagram, you have a business to actually create Instagram followers, or you create with the innovative idea which actually is trying to solve a problem. How can you actually get a bank account? How can you actually incorporate your business if you cannot get into a binding contract? Most of the times you actually end up having your parents register a company for you and then run that company. And that's what I did for my kid. So that's a problem which we have to solve. I hope governments worldwide listen to this and try and bring regulations to create a student corporation kind of environment to solve the problem. We cannot solve that problem, but we can bring enough data of global kid entrepreneurs who are trying to do some amazing cool stuff. And once we present this data to different governments and regulators and lawmakers, I hope they will listen to this and bring some structure into the company affairs or company registration, so that there's a student corporation where students can start business, raise money, and grow at a very, very young age. Let's leave that aside and let's try and look at a bigger problem. The bigger problem today in the education system is that the education system is actually training people to become employees. What that means is kids go to school, they study a set curriculum, and based on this curriculum which they study, they actually end up giving exams, write papers, do assignments, and that's the end of it. There is no activity-based learning for the kids today, and which is a problem because they cannot apply what they are learning into real life situations. We definitely have solved the problem. We have a solution to that problem, and that's something which is we are proposing in our model. Another problem you see is today the attention span of the kids is less. When they are studying, they spend a lot of time on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Discord, playing games, a lot of things which actually, to some extent, it challenges their brains, but it does not help them building critical life skills. Definitely not entrepreneurship skills. So the idea is, and what we are trying to say here is, if you are in a company of 10 smart entrepreneurs, you will end up becoming an entrepreneur. And that's what we are trying to bring. We are trying to bring all young entrepreneurial mindset kids together, and hopefully other students will join them and learn from them, and that will help overall improve the ecosystem. Parents are concerned today, given the COVID situation where people have lost their jobs, people have concerns with kids studying at home all the time by themselves on computers. The career spawns are less, there are few opportunities, which means that there's more depression, right? And there's a lot of pressure in families to get the kids out and help them find jobs. Well, if they would have gone through an entrepreneurship curriculum and would have practiced some experiential activities and created small startups for many years, one startup a year, they would be resilient and they would know that, come what may, they would be able to find a way to make that living. Sometimes you run into a life situation also where you're very smart, you are a very successful employee, but a life situation takes turns, whether a family sickness or personal disability where you cannot go and work out in a proper work environment, and that means your career is over. Well, not really. If you're having skills, life skills, and if you're having entrepreneurship skills, then no matter, as long as your brain can function and you can do some things, you can certainly run, create, start, operate, grow your business. And we want to make kids, today's kids, who are tomorrow's future, to be able to do that. So let's see what Teenivo platform is. So Teenivo is basically, we have a platform which actually is totally focused on entrepreneurship and academic learning. So you can always tell your kid, yes, you can do your Instagram, you can do your Snapchat, but we also want you to spend some time and on Teenivo and learn something which would definitely help you for your future. So what we have is we have a platform. How we plan to promote this platform is through global partner managed chapters and partners. Today we have partners in Karnataka, Bangalore. We have a partner in Africa, and we just signed up a partner in Egypt. What we are offering is we are also offering at a later date a global chamber, which will take all kids actually who have businesses, viable, good, solid businesses, to offer them membership, and then take their issues to the regulators, to their respective local governments, and try and say that, here are the problems and how can government help them. Please be aware that 62% of new jobs are created by small and medium businesses. So for government also, it is important that they invest in kids' education and entrepreneurship at a very, very young age. And any issues which they come across which are impacting kids and their businesses, they need to have attention, they need to be given attention and a problem. And I think if more attention is given to them, there'll be more jobs, and it solves government's problem too. So what we are offering is we are offering also education courses. We have a marketplace. So when we talk to kids who have been into this business, two things they need is small startup capital and a marketplace to sell their products. And we have both of that. So let's look at the next slide. So basically what we have is a prototype. And our prototype is kind of a social network for the Teenivo prototype is basically a social network kind of platform where they can connect with, if you can see here, you have a profile, you can connect with local Tingels. Tingels are local investors, or they could be global investors. Typically, kids require anywhere between $150 to $2,000 to start a small business. And I think our model actually gives the money back to the investors first, and then the kids actually get the profit if they make a profit. So the risk on the investor is very, very less because the first sales revenues are given back to the investors. And this platform actually allows them to make friends who are entrepreneurs, school friends and family friends, as well as they are awarded points for doing some activities on the network. They can connect to local Tingels. We have also enhanced this platform so they can now connect with local mentors. They can also do a startup showcase. Along with student profile, we also have an entrepreneur profile now added into the platform. So the platform has matured. So you can create a login on teenivo.com and you can actually try and experience this platform, how it looks like. Here are the notifications when somebody sends a friend request, connection request, it's accepted, you are awarded points for that, and it shows your total points. So let's look at the market size. If you look at 7.8 billion world population, people may think that's a lot of population. Well, yeah, and you know how many of them are kids? 3.2 billion are below the age of 19. So close to 39.4% of world population is teens and preteens. That's a huge market. The problem is we are not trying to address that is because they don't have money to spend. That's why so the only target you have is parents of those kids. But these are the kids who, if you groom them properly and if you give them entrepreneurial skills, they can be the future job creators, they can be future innovators, and it makes sense to invest in them. How and why? We have a plan. So let's see for now, what we are working on is targeting the English skills, students with English skills, and that's about 5.5% of the world population. In year 2008, about 500 kids in UK registered their businesses. This number expanded to 4,000 plus teenagers actually registering their business in UK itself. So the interest on young kids entrepreneurship is growing. What is our model? Our model is a leap model. And what does a leap model do? So it has learning, experiential engagement, access to global network, and promoting your startup. So let's look at the learning model. So our learning model is basically Teenivo education. So what does Teenivo education offer? Teenivo education offers you in-class learning. In-class learning means, where you are just going to your school and teacher actually teaches you. That's our in-class learning. We also have learning which is online learning. And online learning actually offers you three types of learning. One learning is self-learning, which means you actually go to teenivo.com education and you actually take the courses by yourself. Another option is to actually have a self-learning, online learning, but not self-learning. You are actually taught by instructor one-on-one. And the third type is you are actually being taught in a group setting by an instructor in a group of up to 6 students. So here are the model. When government is funding this program in class in public school, it will be offered free to everybody. When it is in class in private school, it would be $1 to $3 per student per month. That would be the cost. It could be paid from the parents, or it could be sponsored by local businesses or philanthropists to sponsor certain kids for this program. Online self-paced, many places where these programs are not offered, you can actually take them online by your own at $1 per student per month. Instructor-led, one instructor per student is $15 per hour, and online instructor-led, where one instructor teaches 6 students, is $8 per student. And we also are in future are going to offer homework help as decided by the faculty. So let's look at what we have in the experiential engagement. So let's assume when you study in class, of course, all our in-class learning is activity-based. So more than 50% or close to 50% of the time on every hour of in-class education which you do, or even online education when you work within faculty, would be activity-driven. So you would be doing certain activities to apply what you have learned. But that would be still in a classroom setting. That would actually make you solidify the concept or actually correlate that concept to a real world, how that concept is applied. But does it give you a real experience of starting and running a business? No. So what we have is the next step is called experimental engagement. And what does experimental engagement do? Which means it is an actual facility, or in virtual environment also. It can be done for services oriented business, not product oriented business. But if you want to have a product oriented business startup, it is an actual facility where students are supposed to be there once a week, 3 hours at a stretch, being supported by local governments, by sponsors who sponsor venue, by local entrepreneurs and successful businessmen who actually will sponsor, give mentorship, guidance, and some local investors who would actually invest small amounts of money to help these kids start business. This all kids in a certain age group will be formed in a group of 15 to 20 students, and then they will have to come up with an idea, they'll have to pitch an idea, and then they will have to present it to an investor. They will have to get funding in a phase wise, they will have to create that product, market that product, sell that product in 2 sales event, to normal, to family, friends, and then they will have to get money. The first revenues they get from this sales will go back to the investors, so they get their money back, and then the remaining of the money they distribute within their group. It won't be a lot of money, but it is 3 hours per week of real business learning, which they learn in a proper environment, which is not by teachers, not led by teachers. It is actually driven by entrepreneurs and volunteers who are supporting these kids, giving them tips, helping them to grow their business. This 15 to 20 students will form a group, elect their CEO, the executive team, and then also have workers who will actually create work, who will do work. It would be HR, it would be financial, accounting, receipts, production, marketing, branding, technology, website, everything within the group of 15 to 20 students. That's a lot of experience for a year. And assume if a kid starts doing this at the age of 7 and all the way up to 19 in our network, I think by the time the kid would have actually had roughly about 10 to 12 minimum business ideas, which the kid would have worked in a group setting and would have taken various roles from finance, accounting, operations, sales and marketing, executive team, you name it. This experience would be as good as learning MBA into any premier business school. Because first on the learning side, they are learning the courses, and in the experiential engagement, they're actually trying to do a real business and learning and getting exposed to running a business. They would fail in many startups, and when they fail, the investors who invest anywhere between $150 to $2,000, they lose money, but their losses would be for the amount of sales which have not been made. Whether as a parents, ask yourself, would you give $150 to your kid? Most of the kids would not appreciate investment from the parents. So I encourage parents to actually join the local chapters, be mentors to them, and fund other parents' kids or other kids in a good faith that somebody else will fund your kid and mentor your kid or your child. That way, of course, many times kids don't appreciate or don't appreciate own family support, but when somebody else mentors them or gives them tips, they actually pay close attention to that. And I think, when this network of parents supporting other kids and businesses and everybody come together, this would definitely have a bigger impact, and there'll be a lot of activities which would happen. And we want this, in every region, in every around every 10 school, we want one chapter within a radius of, let's say, depending on where you are, but within the radius of a few kilometers, we want one chapter. So a lot of kids can participate every year, every week for 3 hours, and there'll be a lot of support. And I'm pretty sure, with globally this thing happening, there'll be many smart ideas and many global problems can be solved by that. So let's look at the next one. Is basically, so what kind of curriculum modules we have? So we have curriculum modules which are in the level 1, which is the age group of 7 to 10. The level 2 would be from the age group of 11 to 13. The age group of 14 to 16 is level 3, and the age group of 17 to 19 is level 4. Today we have ready modules of level 1, about 14 hours of programming done. Every level would have roughly about anywhere between 35 to 55 hours of programming done, and it would touch on the topics of entrepreneurship, idea generation, personal finance, business finance, branding, personality development, business fundamentals, and every level they will have to pitch to investor. We'll teach them how to pitch. Important thing is a concept of profit to a 7 to 10-year-old would be different than to a concept of profit to a 16 to 19-year-old who would be much smarter, would know business valuation and everything. But we will train them, in phases, so they have their concepts ready. And this is like 4 levels of education. And I have already told you previously that this would be in class and online. In every module, we have 4 components. Teacher's guide, which we are going to give it to teachers to how to teach this course. Students training is basically students actually taking that course. Every course or every hour has a bunch of activities, and we do want to assess them, how they have performed. So there will be an assessment for that. We will give certificate to every kid who participates in that, and this certificate will be on blockchain. We are building that technology so that it is tamper-proof certificate given via partner, approved, where the course is taught by Teenivo approved faculty, and this would be a certificate which will clearly mention whether this course is taken in class, online, self-learning, or through a investor-based learning. So let's look at what we have. So learning, the competition we have is BizKids. They are very, very good, very nice website. They address the learning, especially if they're very, very strong in personal finance. Experimental engagement, junior achievement is there, Thai youth is there. The Knowledge Society also is actually training kids to do a lot of activities also. So that's another competition which is there in experiential engagement. Another one is access to global networks. So the platform which we have built on Teenivo, I don't think as of now anybody has it. We are the first mover in that. And promoting your startup. So that's the P part of it, which is teenager startups has competition where you have a lot of Entrepreneur magazine or Forbes or Fast Company magazine or you have your story in India and many such sites which are entrepreneurship focused, but none of them has focus on kids and teens. So we probably are one of the largest repository where we not only have feature stories, but we actually also have curated content where our team actually finds out content of smart kids who are doing some cool stuff in different parts of the world, and we showcase it on our website. So what are the challenges we have? And the targets we have. So we have focused, we want to reach out to schools and universities. So our program can be presented to them. The students can actually join teenivo.com platform, create and network with other students, announce their startup, showcase their startup, raise money from local investors. We also want mentors to come on the network. So definitely user acquisition is our first target. We also want to target entrepreneurship cells. And also we want to target direct founders who are kids or young students to actually be on the network and support others, not only the students, but also even successful entrepreneurs to actually join our network and support kids in a good faith that, that the future is bright if they help kids. We definitely want parents, no doubt about it. We want encouragement for parents to actually tell the kids that please join this network. It is for your interest. Of course, we want media support, word of mouth, and PR. We are looking to have partnership with and create chapters. We want to have governments. We want to have local clubs, associations, anybody who think that we are doing something good to team up with us and see how best we can actually take this forward. We have kept our pricing very, very competitive, very low, with the interest that it can reach the lowest possible mile where there is very little money. We are open to having partnerships where partners can actually propose a pricing if even the current pricing is not working. Our infrastructure costs are pretty high, so we want to make sure that we cover some of that, but the intention is to make sure that we become a household name over a period of time, and we can actually help transform the entrepreneurship at a young age for kids. So what we have done so far. So we have two websites. One is Teenager Startups and one is Teenivo. So let me explain what Teenager Startups is. So Teenager Startups is the media part of it. We have got feature stories, blog, video interviews, podcast, events, marketplace, internships, buy and sell, business listing, curated news, electronic design, forums, online forums. We also have a product roadmap where you can see what we are building. We have a dashboard and workflow for every single role type. So if you're a student, you get a different dashboard. If you're a sponsor, you get a different dashboard. If you're an SEO executive, you get a different dashboard. If you're an employer who is trying to recruit interns, you get a different dashboard. So we have different dashboards. Our future includes local chapter portal, parent consent, single sign-on with Teenivo, scholarships, university admissions, where based on your grades which you have, you can directly actually apply to university admissions. We also want to have our transcript solution to have e-transcript, so it can be in direct competition with world World Education Services or other other education credential evaluation companies. And the admission process will be streamlined and it will be quick if we integrate with schools. We have e-tutoring needs, we have video resumes. Our startup showcase is already live. So and Mentors API and Investors API is live now already. Teen Chamber is future plan, and again, sorry, the parents' consent is duplicate here. We are coming out with our first novel called The Change Makers, and that is going to be released by January 2021. So that's on teenager startups. We are trying to have single sign-on between teenager startups and Teenivo. Our on Teenivo, there is a student profile, there's an entrepreneur profile, there's a mentor profile, there's an investor profile, there's messaging, means chatting. But of course, kids can only chat with or make friends within themselves. An investor or a mentor cannot directly chat with the students unless the student actually initiates the contact, because they would not be able to make friends with them. Notifications, add friend, block friend, follow. Future roadmap is to have parent profile, school profile, e-transcripts, verified profile, where the data we get it from school, so that it are verified. All the data which we have on teenivo.com is end-to-end encrypted. So we have taken care of the privacy issues and everything. So on the database, if somebody takes the database, they will not find anything. It's an encrypted data. We have plans in future to have business case competitions and e-pitch. So the pitching is already there. You can actually upload your pitch on teenagerstartups.com. We don't have API right now, but I think we will bring that up. And the pitch would also be available on teenivo.com. And Startup Showcase is already live on our platform. So Roshan Shah, that's me. And Mary Olson is based out of New York. She looks after our media team. Professor Vivian Johnson is looking after our education team and creating the curriculum for all the lessons and education side of the business. And that's what we are. So if you have any interest to invest or become partner, then you can actually get in touch with us. So thank you again. My name is Roshan Shah, and if you have any questions, then please reach out to me. My email is roshan@teenagerstartups.com. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to getting the feedback from you on this overview video. Thank you.